First contact in flames. The quantum sensors aboard the luminous seeker were never meant to detect warships. The research vessel's delicate instruments were designed to study stellar phenomena, not track the heat signatures of approaching battlecruisers. Yet on that fateful day, it was those very sensors that gave Chief Researcher Valen and her crew their only warning. Multiple vessels emerging from void space announced third researcher Ixen, their luminescent tendrils flickering with anxiety. Configuration unknown, but energy signatures are massive. Valen floated across the bridge of the luminous seeker, her crystalline form refracting the soft blue light of the ship's ambient illumination. The Meridian were a peaceful species, their bodies evolved for the careful manipulation of scientific instruments rather than warfare. In 3 centuries of exploration, they had never needed weapons. "Show me," she commanded, her voice resonating through the ship's atmosphere in harmonious tones. The main display shimmered to life, revealing 12 ships emerging from the darkness between stars. Their hulls were midnight black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, making them appear as holes in space itself. They were moving with purpose, their formation suggesting military precision rather than civilian traffic. "Analysis?" Valen asked, though she already feared the answer. "Matching configurations against known species," Ixen responded, their tendrils working quickly across the holographic interface. "No exact matches, but energy signatures align with reports of the Void Hunters." A collective shudder passed through the bridge crew. Every spacefaring species knew of the Void Hunters, pirates and slavers who appeared without warning, stripped ships and stations bare, and vanished with their plunder. They left no survivors, only drifting hulks as testament to their brutality. "Time to contact." Valen's voice remained steady, though her crystalline form clouded with concern. 17 minutes at current velocity, Ixen reported. They're on an intercept course." Valen moved to the command interface, her mind racing through options. The luminous seeker was a research vessel, its only defenses a basic shield system designed to protect against stellar radiation. They carried a crew of 32 brilliant scientists, each one irreplaceable in their field. And they were studying something unprecedented, the first confirmed quantum tunnel linking 2 sectors of space. "Begin emergency data transmission to the Meridian Science Council," she ordered. "Priority 1 encryption. Include all our findings on the quantum tunnel." "Transmission initiated," confirmed Ixen. "But Chief, there's something else. The quantum tunnel, its energy signature is fluctuating." Valen turned her attention to the sensor readings. The quantum tunnel they'd been studying for the past 3 months was indeed behaving strangely. Its usual steady pulse of energy had become erratic, as if responding to the presence of the approaching vessels. 14 minutes to contact, Ixen updated. "They're accelerating." Valen made a decision. "There's something about this tunnel they want. Something they know that we don't. Begin emergency shutdown of all research equipment. Purge the local databases." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, despite their fear. They were scientists, trained to preserve knowledge even in the face of disaster. But as Valen watched the approaching ships, she knew it wouldn't be enough. "Chief," called out second researcher Neem, their voice tight with tension. "I found something in the historical archives about the quantum tunnel." "Speak quickly," Valen ordered, watching the distance counter tick down. "There are references, heavily classified, from the early days of interstellar exploration. Similar tunnels were found, always in remote sectors. And always followed by reports of ships vanishing." Valen's crystalline form pulsed with realization. They're not here by chance. They've been waiting for someone to find the tunnel. 10 minutes to contact, Ixen announced. "Chief, they're charging weapons." Valen moved to the center of the bridge, her decision made. "All hands, this is Chief Researcher Valen. Begin emergency evacuation procedures. Take only essential data crystals. All other systems are to be purged." But as the crew began to move, a new alert sounded. Multiple ships were emerging from the quantum tunnel itself, their energy signatures matching the approaching void hunters. "We're surrounded," Ixen whispered, their tendrils dimming with despair. Valen stared at the tactical display, watching as the net closed around her ship and her crew. The void hunters had planned this perfectly, waiting until someone did the hard work of studying the tunnel before swooping in to claim whatever secrets it held. But there was one option left, one that went against every protocol, every treaty, every warning they'd ever received. "Ixen," she said quietly, "access the emergency protocols. Authorization Valen Prime 0. Ixen's tendrils flickered with shock. "Chief, you don't mean—" "The emergency beacon," Valen confirmed. "The one we're never supposed to use. Every Meridian ship carried it. A quantum-encrypted communication device capable of sending a signal through any known interference. Its frequency was predetermined, its message simple and desperate, and its intended recipients were the ones that the galactic community had deemed too dangerous to contact. The humans." "Chief," Neem protested, "the treaties specifically forbid." "The treaties assumed we'd have time to call for conventional help," Valen cut them off. "We don't. And I won't let the Void Hunters take this crew without trying everything possible." She moved to the emergency console, her crystalline fingers dancing across the controls. The beacon was designed to be simple: a single button, a single message, a single hope. 5 minutes to contact, Ixen reported. "The Void Hunters are charging their main weapons." Valen pressed the beacon's activation crystal. A pulse of energy shot out from the luminous seeker, faster than light, carrying their desperate plea across the stars. The message was simple, broadcast in the human language of English, that all ships were required to maintain in their databases. "This is Meridian Research Vessel Luminous Seeker. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces. We have 32 civilian scientists aboard. No weapons, no defenses. If anyone can hear this, please help." The bridge fell silent as the message repeated, broadcasting on a frequency that hadn't been used in centuries. A frequency that led to a sector of space that most species avoided, where evolution had created something that the galaxy both feared and misunderstood. 3 minutes, Ixen announced quietly. Valen watched the tactical display, her crystalline form steady now. She had done what she could. She had given her crew a chance, however slim. Now all they could do was wait, and hope that the stories about humans were true. Not the ones about their violence or their strength, but the ones about their courage and their unwavering determination to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. 2 minutes, Ixen counted down. "Chief, the quantum tunnel's energy signature is changing again." Valen turned to the sensor display. The tunnel's erratic pulses had become a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat, and something was emerging from its depths, something that made the Void Hunter's energy signatures look dim in comparison. "New contact," Ixen announced, their tendrils brightening with sudden hope. It's massive." Through the quantum tunnel came a ship unlike anything in Valen's experience, where the Void Hunter's vessels were sleek and predatory. This ship was built like a mountain given form and purpose. Its hull bore the marks of countless battles, worn like badges of honor rather than scars of defeat. And on its side, in letters that the ship's computer automatically translated, was a name that would soon become legend throughout the galaxy: HMS Thunderchild. The humans had answered their call. The awakening of giants. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the HMS Thunderchild, her weathered features illuminated by the quantum tunnel's ethereal glow. 20 years of service in Earth's defense fleet had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now every one of them was screaming that this was no coincidence. "Status report," she commanded, her voice carrying the quiet authority of someone used to making split-second decisions. 12 hostile vessels detected, Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from Tactical. "Configuration matches known Void Hunter signatures. They're surrounding a civilian research vessel." Chen's dark eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. The Void Hunters had arranged themselves in a classic predator pattern, but they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd assumed their prey was alone. Life signs on the research vessel. 32 signatures, Captain. Meridian crystalline forms, all civilian. Rodriguez's hands moved across his console. They're broadcasting an emergency beacon. That's what pulled us through the quantum tunnel. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The emergency beacon system had been humanity's one concession when the galactic community had decided to isolate them centuries ago. They'd known that someday, someone would need what humanity had evolved to become. All hands, battle stations, she ordered calmly. Engineering, status of the gravity lance. Chief Engineer Patel's voice came through clear and confident. Charged and ready, Captain. Those modifications we made at Jupiter Station are holding steady. The gravity lance was humanity's answer to being labeled as Deathworlders. If their evolution under crushing gravity had made them dangerous, they'd turned that very force into their greatest weapon. The lance could project concentrated gravitational fields, turning Earth's natural conditions into a weapon that few species could withstand. Tactical. Analysis of Void Hunter capabilities. Rodriguez studied his readings. Advanced energy weapons, Captain, but their hull design suggests they evolved in low-gravity environments. They've compensated with technology, but their structural integrity won't hold against sustained gravitational stress. Perfect. Chen turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant Park, open a channel to the Meridian vessel. The main screen shifted to show the bridge of the luminous seeker. Chen found herself looking at a crystalline being whose form seemed to shimmer with both fear and hope. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet vessel Thunderchild. We receive your distress call. Hold position and prepare for protective action. The Meridian researcher's voice came through in harmonious tones. I am Chief Researcher Valen. Captain, we were told never to use the beacon except in the most dire circumstances, and we were told never to leave our sector except when called. Chen replied with a slight smile. Looks like we're both breaking some rules today. Stand by. She turned to her tactical officer. Target the nearest Void Hunter vessel. Minimal power on the gravity lance. Let's show them what it means to threaten innocent researchers in our universe. The Thunderchild's main weapon powered up, its energy signature causing the quantum tunnel behind them to pulse in sympathy. The nearest Void Hunter ship suddenly found itself experiencing Earth-normal gravity, a force their hull was never designed to withstand. Metal groaned as the ship's structure began to compress. Warning signals flashed across Rodriguez's display as the Void Hunters finally realized what they were facing. They're powering weapons, Rodriguez reported. Energy readings suggest. His words were cut off as the Void Hunters opened fire. Advanced energy weapons struck the Thunderchild's hull, only to find themselves confronting armor designed to withstand forces that would crush most species. Minimal damage, engineering reported. Hull integrity at 97%. Chen nodded, unsurprised. The Thunderchild, like all human vessels, was built to endure. Their ships weren't elegant or beautiful. They were functional, powerful, and nearly impossible to destroy. Multiple quantum tunnel signatures detecting. Science Officer Zhang announced suddenly. Captain, it's the rest of the patrol fleet. Through the tunnel came 3 more human vessels, the Sentinel, the Aegis, and the Bulwark. Each bore the same battle-scarred appearance as the Thunderchild, each built to the same uncompromising standards. Channel to all Void Hunter vessels, Chen ordered, her voice now carrying an edge of steel. This is Captain Chen. You have exactly 30 seconds to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, you will learn firsthand why our world is called a death world. On the tactical display, the Void Hunter vessels seemed to hesitate. Their formation, so perfect moments ago, began to waver as they faced something their advanced technology couldn't overcome. Pure, evolutionary strength. Captain, Valen's voice came through again. They were after our research. The quantum tunnel. It's not natural. It's ancient, and I believe the Void Hunters know what it truly is. Chen's eyes narrowed. Interesting. Lieutenant Park, signal the fleet. Standard containment formation. No one leaves until we understand exactly what's happening here. The human ships moved with practiced precision, their massive forms taking up positions that would prevent any escape. The Void Hunters found themselves trapped between forces they couldn't fight and a gravity well they couldn't survive. 20 seconds. Chen announced to the Void Hunters. Your reputation suggests you're intelligent. Prove it. In the silence that followed, Chen studied the quantum tunnel's readings. Its energy pattern had changed since their arrival, becoming more stable, more focused, almost as if it was responding to their presence. Captain, Zhang reported, I'm detecting similarities between the tunnel's quantum signature and the artifacts we found on Mars. Chen felt a chill run down her spine. The Mars artifacts had been humanity's first hint that they weren't alone in the universe, and that something ancient had once taken a very specific interest in Deathworld species. 10 seconds, she announced to the Void Hunters. But before she could continue, the lead Void Hunter vessel suddenly powered up its main drive. They're making a run for it, Rodriguez reported, his hands already moving to the gravity lance controls. Chen shook her head. Let them try. Sometimes the best lesson is a practical demonstration. The Void Hunter ship accelerated, its advanced engines pushing it to speeds that would have impressed most species. But as it hit the gravity field the Thunderchild had established, its hull began to buckle. Alarms blared across the tactical display as the ship's structure encountered forces it was never meant to withstand. All Void Hunter vessels. Chen broadcast. That was at 10% power. Would anyone else like a demonstration at full strength? One by one, the remaining Void Hunter ships powered down their weapons. On the luminous Seeker's bridge, Valen's crystalline form glowed with relief and something else. Understanding. Now, Chen said, turning back to the Meridian vessel, tell me everything you've learned about this quantum tunnel, because I have a feeling we just stumbled onto something much bigger than a simple rescue mission. The galaxy was about to learn that isolating humanity hadn't weakened them. It had given them time to prepare. And now, watching over the defeated Void Hunter fleet, Captain Sarah Chen couldn't help but wonder if that had been someone's plan all along. Echoes of the ancients. The conference room aboard the Thunderchild hummed with tension as Captain Chen studied the holographic display floating above the table. The quantum tunnel structure rotated slowly in the air, its complex patterns highlighted by Science Officer Zhang's analysis software. It's not just similar to the Mars artifacts, Zhang explained, her hands moving through the hologram. It's identical at the quantum level. The same mathematical constants, the same energy signatures. This tunnel was built by the same civilization that visited Earth thousands of years ago. Across the table, Chief Researcher Valen's crystalline form pulsed with excitement. That matches our findings exactly. But Captain, there's more. The tunnel. It's been waiting. Waiting? Chen leaned forward. For what? For you. For humans. Valen projected her own data into the hologram. When your ships arrived, the tunnel's energy pattern stabilized. It recognized something in your quantum signature. Lieutenant Rodriguez, reviewing the tactical data from their encounter, looked up. That would explain why the Void Hunters were so interested. They knew what this was, or who built it, Chen added thoughtfully. Science Officer, what do we know about these builders? Zhang's expression was troubled. Very little, Captain. The Mars artifacts suggested they were studying Earth, specifically because of its high gravity. They seemed particularly interested in how life might evolve under such conditions. And now we find their quantum tunnel responding to human ships, Chen mused. Valen, what can you tell us about the Void Hunters' interest in your research? The Meridian researchers' form clouded slightly. They'd been systematically hunting down and destroying similar research stations across the galaxy. We thought they were simply pirates, but now I believe they're trying to prevent something Before Chen could respond, the ship's AI interrupted. "Captain, priority alert from engineering. Chief Patel requests your immediate presence in the quantum drive section." Chen rose quickly. "Valen, Zhang, with me. Rodriguez, maintain watch on our guests." The walk to engineering revealed the Thunderchild's true nature. Where most species built their ships with comfort in mind, every corridor here was reinforced, every system redundant. It was less a vessel and more a mobile fortress. They found Chief Engineer Patel standing before a massive display of quantum readings, his dark features lit by the cascading data. "Captain, you need to see this. The tunnel isn't just responding to our presence, it's trying to communicate." The display showed complex patterns of quantum fluctuations, rhythmic pulses that seemed almost like language. "It started just after we contained the Void Hunters," Patel explained. "At first I thought it was interference, but—" "It's a key," Valen interrupted, her crystalline form vibrating with revelation. "Captain, my species has studied quantum mechanics for centuries, but we've never seen patterns like this. It's as if it was designed for human ships to decode." Zhang finished. "Our quantum drives operate at frequencies that match Earth's gravitational field. We thought it was just efficient engineering, but what if it was more?" Chen studied the patterns, years of command experience telling her they were standing on the edge of something momentous. "Can we respond?" "Theoretically," Patel nodded. "We'd need to modulate our quantum drive's output to match these patterns. But Captain, if we do this, we're going far beyond first contact protocols." "I think we're already there," Chen replied dryly. "Do it." As Patel worked, Valen moved closer to Chen. "Captain, there's something else you should know. The data we collected suggests this isn't the only tunnel. There's a network of them, all dormant, all waiting. Waiting for humans," Chen said quietly. "A species that evolved on a world most consider uninhabitable, developing technology that accidentally matched ancient quantum patterns." She turned to Zhang. "Those artifacts on Mars, they weren't just studying us, were they? They were leaving breadcrumbs." Before Zhang could respond, the quantum drive's hum changed pitch. The patterns on the display shifted, becoming more organized, more deliberate. Then, to everyone's shock, they began forming into recognizable symbols. That's impossible," Patel whispered. "These patterns, they're forming into Earth languages, multiple Earth languages." Ancient Sanskrit scrolled across the screen, followed by Classical Chinese, Linear B, and dozens of other ancient writing systems. Finally, modern English appeared. "The children of the Crucible are ready. The network awakens. The preservers return." The Crucible, Valen's voice was filled with awe. They called Earth a crucible, a place where extreme conditions forged something unique. Chen's mind raced with implications. The galaxy had isolated humanity out of fear of their strength, never realizing they were interfering with something set in motion millennia ago. The Void Hunters hadn't been simple pirates. They'd been trying to prevent this moment. "Captain," Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. "The Void Hunter ships, their quantum signatures are changing. Something's happening." Chen turned to her crew. "Back to the bridge. Now, whatever the preservers planned, I have a feeling we're about to find out why they chose humanity as their inheritors." As they hurried back through the reinforced corridors of the Thunderchild, Chen couldn't help but smile grimly. The galaxy had called humans Deathworlders, never understanding that their harsh evolution hadn't just made them strong. It had made them exactly what an ancient civilization had been waiting for. The real question was, what were they meant to preserve? Legacy of the Preservers. The bridge of the Thunderchild erupted into action as Chen and her team emerged from the turbolift. The tactical display showed all 12 Void Hunter vessels surrounded by a strange quantum field, their hulls resonating with energy patterns identical to the tunnels. "Report," Chen ordered, taking her command position. "It started 30 seconds ago," Rodriguez responded, hands flying over his console. The quantum tunnel's energy signature suddenly duplicated itself across all Void Hunter vessels. Their crews, they're changing. On the main screen, the feed from the nearest Void Hunter ship showed its crew undergoing a horrifying transformation. Their sleek, shadow-like forms were shifting, crystallizing into something both ancient and familiar. By the stars, Valen whispered, her own crystalline form dimming with shock. They're becoming like the artifacts. They're becoming preservers. The transformation completed with shocking speed. Where the Void Hunters had been dark and fluid, they now stood tall and crystalline. But unlike the Meridian's transparent beauty, these forms were obsidian black, shot through with lines of pulsing energy. Channel opening. Park announced from communications. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The main screen filled with the image of what had once been the Void Hunter leader. Its crystalline form seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. And when it spoke, its voice carried the weight of millennia. The cycle nears completion, it announced in perfect English. The children of the Crucible have proven worthy. The deception ends. Chen stepped forward. Identify yourself. We are the Guardians, left behind to test and prepare. What you knew as Void Hunters were our avatars, creating the pressure needed to force evolution, to force preparation. Preparation for what? Chen demanded. The Guardian's form pulsed with dark energy. For the return. For what comes from beyond the void between galaxies. The Preservers built the quantum network not for exploration, but for evacuation. They fled here, eons ago, seeking species capable of surviving what followed them. Understanding dawned on Chen's face. Earth wasn't a crucible by chance. You were watching us evolve. Your world was one of many tests. Most failed. Most species evolved for comfort, for ease. But a few, a precious few, evolved for survival at any cost. The Guardian's form shifted, displaying images of Earth's history. You fought your world. You survived ice ages, predators, natural disasters. You never stopped fighting, never stopped adapting. Valen moved forward, her scientific curiosity overwhelming her fear. The quantum tunnels. They're not just for transportation, are they? They are keys, the Guardian confirmed. Keys to the Preserver's legacy. Their knowledge, their technology, their warnings. All waiting for those strong enough to use them. Strong enough to survive what hunts between the galaxies. The Mars artifacts, Zhang interrupted. They weren't just studying us. They were leaving us instructions. Guidelines, the Guardian corrected. Suggestions for technological development that would lead you to create drives and weapons compatible with Preserver systems. Your gravity lance is crude, but it shows you grasp the fundamental principles. Chen's tactical mind was already racing ahead. How long? How long until whatever the Preservers flood from reaches our galaxy? The Guardian's form darkened. Time is fluid between galaxies, but our calculations suggest less than a century. The quantum network is activating because it senses their approach. The Preservers locked away their most powerful technologies, waiting for species strong enough to use them responsibly. And the other death worlds? Chen asked. Are there other species like us? Few, but yes. Your isolation was not just fear. It was protection, giving you time to develop independently. Now the remaining Guardians awaken, seeking other crucible worlds, other survivors. The galaxy must be ready. Valen's form brightened with sudden realization. That's why you attacked research stations. You were preventing anyone from accessing the network until humanity was ready. The timing had to be precise. The Guardian acknowledged. Too soon, and the galaxy would have access to power it couldn't control. Too late, it left the thought unfinished. Captain, Rodriguez interrupted urgently. The quantum tunnel, its energy signature is changing again. It's linking to others. A whole network is becoming visible. The tactical display transformed, showing hundreds of quantum tunnels lighting up across the galaxy. Each one pulsed with the same energy signature, creating a vast web of connection and power. The network awakens, the Guardian intoned. The legacy of the Preservers passes to humanity and the other crucible species. You must learn quickly. You must prepare. What hunts between galaxies cannot be defeated easily. Chen stood silent for a moment, absorbing the weight of this revelation. Humanity hadn't been isolated out of fear. They'd been protected, sheltered, allowed to develop the strength and resilience they'd need for what was coming. "How do we begin?" she asked finally. The Guardian's form shifted, extending a crystalline tendril toward the quantum tunnel. "First, you must understand what you truly are. The Preservers didn't choose humans because you were strong. They chose you because you never stopped trying to be stronger." As if in response, the Thunderchild's quantum drive hummed to life, resonating with the tunnel's frequency. Across the galaxy, other quantum tunnels began responding, calling out to other Deathworld species, other survivors who had fought their worlds and won. The legacy of the Preservers was awakening, and with it, the true purpose of humanity's harsh evolution was finally revealed. They weren't just survivors of a death world. They were the inheritors of an ancient trust, chosen by time and evolution to stand against something that hunted between the stars. Guardians of tomorrow. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from 1,000 species sat in stunned silence as they watched the recording from the Thunderchild's bridge. Captain Chen stood at the center of the vast, circular chamber, her weathered uniform bearing the new insignia of the Combined Defense Initiative. "As you can see," she concluded as the recording ended, "everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy was wrong. The isolation of Deathworld species wasn't punishment, it was preparation." High Counselor Vextal, their energy form flickering with concern, spoke first. "You're telling us that an ancient species, these Preservers, deliberately engineered the development of certain worlds to produce species capable of fighting some unknown threat." "Not unknown," Chen corrected, nodding to Valen, who now wore the crystalline equivalent of a human military uniform. "The Guardians have shared their records. The entity that hunts between galaxies is very real, and it's coming." Valen stepped forward, her crystalline form projecting data into the chamber's holographic system. The Preservers called it the Void Corruption. It doesn't just destroy, it transforms. Entire galaxies have gone dark, their species twisted into servants of something that defies our understanding of physics. "And you expect us to believe," another counselor interrupted, "that humanity and the other Deathworld species are our best hope?" "No," came a resonant voice from the chamber's entrance. The Guardian that had once led the Void Hunters entered, its obsidian crystalline form commanding immediate attention. "We expect you to understand that they are your only hope." The chamber erupted in murmurs as the Guardian approached the center. The Preservers did not choose randomly. They selected worlds that would forge species through adversity, through constant challenge. Species that would never stop adapting, never stop fighting. "Show them," Chen commanded quietly. The Guardian's form pulsed, and the chamber's holographic system came alive with images from across the galaxy. On a dozen worlds, scenes played out at species fighting against incredible odds. A methane-breathing race that had evolved in storms that would tear most ships apart. Beams of living metal forged in the hearts of dying stars. Each one isolated, each one labeled too dangerous for contact. "These are your defenders," the Guardian announced. "The children of crucible worlds, evolved through fire and fury. While the rest of the galaxy sought comfort, they sought survival. And now, they will teach you how to survive." Chen stepped forward again. The Combined Defense Initiative isn't just about military preparation. It's about sharing knowledge, about teaching other species the lessons our worlds forced us to learn. The quantum network doesn't just connect space, it connects knowledge. "The Preservers left us their technology," Valen added, "but they knew that technology alone wasn't enough. They needed species who understood, in their very DNA, that survival sometimes requires sacrifice, that strength comes from overcoming, not avoiding, challenges." The chamber's mood had shifted from skepticism to something else, A mix of fear and hope. "How long do we have?" Vextal asked. "The Guardians estimate just under a century before the void corruption reaches our galaxy," Chen responded. "That's why the quantum network activated now. That's why the Preserver's legacy is being passed to us. We have 1 century to prepare the galaxy for a fight unlike any it's ever seen. And if we refuse," a counselor challenged, "if we don't want Deathworlders teaching us their ways." The Guardian's form darkened. "Then you will face the void corruption alone. The quantum network links only to those worlds, and species willing to learn, willing to adapt." The Preservers knew that survival cannot be forced, it must be chosen. Chen surveyed the chamber, seeing the moment of decision in countless alien faces. "We're not asking you to become like us. We're asking you to learn from us, as we'll learn from you. The void corruption doesn't just destroy bodies. It corrupts minds, turns strengths into weaknesses. We'll need every species' unique abilities to fight it." "The isolation ends today," Valen declared. "The quantum network is active, ready to share knowledge, to connect those willing to prepare. The Meridians have already begun studying how to adapt human gravity weapons to work with our crystalline technology. Imagine what else we might create together." Screens around the chamber lit up as more quantum tunnels activated, each one representing a Deathworld species making contact with their galactic neighbors for the first time. The network that had lain dormant for millennia was awakening, turning from a tool of separation into one of connection. "A century ago," Chen said into the growing buzz of excitement, "humanity looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Today, we know we're not just part of a galactic community. We're part of its defense. The Preservers chose us not because we were perfect, but because we never stopped trying to be better." The Guardian moved to stand beside her. "The time of testing is over. The time of preparation begins. Who among you will join the children of the Crucible in defending not just this galaxy, but all galaxies?" One by one, representatives stood. Species that had once feared the Deathworlders now sought their knowledge. Races that had developed in comfort began asking how they could strengthen themselves. The galaxy was changing, preparing, uniting. In the quantum network that connected them all, the ancient knowledge of the Preservers began to flow. Humanity's gravity weapons merged with Meridian crystal technology. Deathworld species shared their survival strategies, their adaptations, their unwavering determination to overcome any challenge. As the council chamber buzzed with new alliances and plans, Chen turned to Valen and the Guardian. Was this the Preservers' plan all along? Not just to find species strong enough to fight, but to unite the galaxy through that strength. The Guardian's form pulsed with what might have been approval. The void corruption destroys by dividing, by turning species against each other. The Preservers knew that true strength comes not just from individual power, but from the connections between the strong and the willing. Valen's crystalline form glowed. "We feared you Deathworlders for so long. Now we understand. Your strength wasn't meant to conquer us, but to teach us how to be strong ourselves." Chen smiled, watching as the galaxy took its first steps toward a future none of them had imagined. The children of the Crucible worlds were awakening, ready to share the lessons their harsh evolution had taught them. And somewhere in the void between galaxies, something ancient and terrible was about to learn what happens when you threaten a galaxy protected by those who had mastered Deathworlds. The real fight was just beginning.